Hey guys, my name is Patrick and I wanted to welcome you to our accounting class here at the University of Connecticut. You are in the federal income tax class and I'm super excited for you guys and having you guys in this class this semester. So this is what I would like to call the orientation video. You know, we don't get an option to actually see each other face to face. And so this is an opportunity for you to get to know me and for me to kind of describe a little bit about this class and some of the things that you should know before we start officially next week, depending on when you're watching this video. So to kind of get us started, I've got a whole bunch of things to cover here on my iPad, but let me start off a little bit with talking about me and introducing myself to all of you. So I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I got my bachelor's degree from the University of Laverne, small little private school about 25 miles east of Los Angeles. And then after graduating there, I started at Deloitte & Touche, one of the big four accounting firms, as an auditor, specializing in real estate investment trusts. I also did a little bit of manufacturing, and I was kind of the one that went out to new clients and started to set up the audit books for those new clients. After leaving Deloitte, I started my own practice doing small business accounting and tax work. Did that for about 5 years before transitioning into higher education as an accounting faculty. Got my master's degree at Oklahoma State University in financial planning, and then subsequently got an accounting master's from the University of Connecticut. So I am a product of the University of Connecticut's MSA program, and hopefully a lot of you are looking to be part of that program after your time here in the Accounting Fundamentals Certificate program. After selling my business to another accounting firm, again, I went to teaching, and I started teaching at a small private institution in Winfield, Kansas, called Southwestern College. My position there was the accounting faculty, so my job there was basically to teach all the accounting classes because I was the only one that was qualified when I started there to teach accounting. So responsible for accounting degree majors, responsible for academic advising and advising a on-campus group. And so now I teach in Texas. I teach at a large institution and primarily in the undergrad. So this is a cool experience to be able to teach here in the graduate program and to teach you guys more about taxation. Some fun things about me. So I've done 4 Dopey challenges at Walt Disney World. If you don't know what that is, you can look that up by just Googling Dopey Challenge Walt Disney World. But basically it consists of 48.6 miles over 4 days. You start on a Thursday with a 5K, 10K on Friday, half marathon on Saturday, and if that wasn't enough, a full marathon on a Sunday. And typically it happens the week before we start school in the spring semester. So basically after that marathon, I jump on a plane and get over to my job the next morning to teach my full load. So pretty cool there. I also run a race timing business here in Texas. So because of all the races that I've done and being interested in that area, I was able to transition that into a race timing business here in Texas. So that's kind of where my business world comes together. Just some other things on the accounting professional world about me. I was named to the CPA Practice Advisors 3 years in a row. Just this past year was my 3rd year. And I think that's really cool, especially on my end, because I'm one of the maybe 2 or 3 educators that are on that list over the last couple of years. And so it's pretty cool to be able to be part of that list and then also to talk to people within that list about what's going on in the profession and how accounting is doing from an industry standpoint. So it definitely gets me my foot right into that world. And so in addition to that, I sit on the AICPA's Student Recruitment Committee. So if you don't know what the AICPA is, it's basically the largest professional organization for accountants. And so I sit on their Student Recruitment Committee, recruiting students just like you to come into the accounting profession and see all the benefits that we have to offer in the accounting world. I also chair our digital platform committee or subcommittee within the student recruitment committee that deals with how to engage students using or engage prospective accountants and CPAs in the digital media space. So that's a little bit about me. Let's talk a little bit about this class. It's going to be a little long here, so stick with me, but we want to make sure that you are well prepared as we go into this semester. It's a very quick paced semester. We do a chapter a week, and then there will be 3 stages where you'll have a test, and that test actually happens during one of the weeks that we're studying another topic. So it can be overwhelming, but I can tell you that I will do everything I can to help you get through this. And so let's talk about what federal taxation is for a second before we talk about all the mechanics of this class. So federal taxation, what are we talking about? We're talking about individual taxes. So we're talking about the 1040, if you've heard of that form. If you prepared your own taxes, we're talking about that form. We're talking about the laws associated with that. You might have heard in the news something called the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. We're going to talk about that and the implications to the tax code and how we as tax preparers figure it all out at the end of the day for our clients, so that we are making sure that our clients pay the legal minimum of taxes they are obligated to pay. So we're specifically going to look at how do we prepare a federal tax return? And by the end of this class, my goal is that every single student that comes to this class should be able to prepare a simple 1040 tax return with 100% accuracy. And we're talking about simple. We're talking about a person who just has maybe a job, a W-2 job. They can claim themselves. They're not a dependent. They're not a college student. Their parents don't claim them. A simple return you should be able to do by the end of this class with 100% accuracy. And then for the complex returns, my goal is that you're able to do those tax returns with about an 80% accuracy. I know a lot of people go, what do you mean 80%? Well, tax law is complicated and it's not straightforward. And because of that, I don't expect you to know everything that needs to go into a tax return for a complex tax return client, but I do expect you to know the basics so that you're able to get yourself there. And then with experience, you'll get the other 10 or 15%. Now, regardless of if you're going to use the information in this course in the future or not, so if you're an auditor, maybe you decide, hey, I'm just going to do audits, I'm not going to worry about taxes, you might not use this. Or if you are a general accountant, do AP stuff, AR stuff, you might not feel like you need any of this. But at the end of the day, hopefully the information you learn in this class will help you do your own taxes, or at least verify the information that your accountant or CPA is giving to you when they prepare your taxes for you. Really exciting. In this past year, we've had a lot of changes, and we're specifically, to make sure that we're all on the same page, we're going to talk about these tax changes as an accountant. So we're not going to look at the political space. We're not going to look at, whether they're right or they're wrong. We're really going to look at these from a tax perspective, an accountant's perspective. The law is the law, and we're going to follow it, and I'm going to show you how we follow it, and I'm going to show you what the interpretations might look like from our standpoint. So we're not going to debate necessarily in this class whether or not a deduction should have been there or shouldn't have been there, but we're going to show you how the deduction works from a tax perspective for an accountant and the taxpayer. Now, the hardest part of this class is following the tax law. Now, we have this Internal Revenue Code that we're supposed to follow, and the problem is the tax law is all about making exceptions to the exceptions. So what you're going to find out is here in the next, 5 chapters, you're going to find yourself going, well, it's this, but it's also part of an exception, so you can't follow that, so you must follow something else. And that's what makes tax so difficult, is because there are exceptions to the exceptions. It's like you can go over the speed limit if there is a emergency to clear the emergency, But if the emergency is caused because of this, then you have to go under the speed limit. You see how that can get confusing? That's exactly how the tax law is. And my job is to help guide you through those exceptions to make sure that you can understand at least the basics of these tax laws. Now, information about the content in this course, we are going to be looking at the tax year that started on January 1, 2018 through December 31, 2018. Now, I realize we're in 2019, so you might be saying, why am I not necessarily teaching you 2019 stuff? And in general, I am going to teach you a little bit about 2019 stuff. But the problem is we are at the beginning of 2019, and Congress can make a whole bunch of changes before we even get to the end of 2019. So often what we do in tax courses is we teach you the tax year in which we are going to prepare. So we are in 2019, we're in January of 2019. We would normally prepare the 2018's tax return. Therefore, in this course, we're going to teach you 2018's tax return because that's what we're preparing in 2019. We can't teach you 2019 because changes can happen in Congress that will invalidate everything that we're talking about. Now, with that being said, a lot of the content that we're going to be teaching you, or I'm going to be teaching you, will pass through different years. And so we're going to talk about dependency credit or dependency, or we're going to talk about filing status, or we're going to talk about standard deduction. The theory behind those items will carry on from year to year. The only difference being the amount that you can deduct might change every single year. And we'll start to point that to you in chapter 1. So we are covering January 1 through December 31st, 2018. And know that if you understand the theory, then going into 2019 and 2020 and 2021, you just need to know what is applicable for those tax laws. Now, one big thing that you're going to notice here this year is because we had so much changes in the tax law, even accountants are still unsure about the tax law that was passed last year. The IRS is even more confused about the tax law that was passed last year. And so what you're going to find is a couple of things. First of all, we might discuss something in a certain chapter that might change over the course of this term. So be flexible with that. Second thing is you're going to find that on your homework, you're going to find in your textbook, you might find in my videos some inaccuracies to what is happening now. And the reason for that is things might have changed, or at the time that it was, understood, we took it one way, but the IRS is saying, no, you need to look at it in a different way, which makes the textbook, the homework, or my videos a little bit inaccurate. So I ask you to show patience in understanding that the tax law was a huge part of last year, and the IRS and accountants are still trying to understand certain aspects of the tax law and how would we report that for our tax clients. And so the biggest one I think I can think of right now is the business income deduction, the 20% deduction that businesses can get to offset the reduction of the corporate tax return rate. There is still a lot of questions on what can be included, what can't be included, how much is included. And so we're still fighting that today, even though the textbook has been printed and it is in your hands. So be flexible with that as we do approach this 2018 tax law a little bit differently than we did before. Now, to give you a little bit of an overview of the course, so I am your instructor, so my job is to teach you the content and to manage the course, okay? We also have an instructional specialist. Our instructional specialist's job is to help you along the way when it comes to homework questions. They help with grading. They basically help support the class. It's kind of like a TA. Now, we don't call them TAs anymore because they do more than just TA work. They help me on my end. They help you on your end. And so if you have any questions, our TA or IS S is Angela Bishop. Angela will definitely help you out. We're still getting her on board as of the recording of this video, so her information may not be up on Blackboard as of today, but as we get her on board and in the system, we'll make sure we put her email out so that you can email her. There really isn't a chain of command as far as if you've got homework questions, who do you go to first? My suggestion is go to Angela if you have a simple homework question. If you feel that you want to talk to me directly, you can come to me, but we do often suggest emailing both of us if it comes to questions on your homework, so that way whoever gets to it first, we can get you an answer faster. So again, reach out to Angela if you need her help or you want her to answer your questions, or if you feel comfortable with her versus me. Reach out to me if you want some more direct answers, or if you want the same questions that you're asking her, or email both of us. And that's what we do suggest. Email both of us so that we can get to you sooner. Okay. So just a couple of things. I'm going to start with the top part of the overview of the course overview and syllabus in Blackboard. If you want to head over there, duplicate this web page so that you can see me, as well as look at that page, pause this video, go print that out, and then replay this video, do what you need. But we're going to cover kind of top to bottom that overview of course overview and syllabus in Blackboard. So we'll start with office hours. So my office hours are 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to try something a little bit new. If you look in that syllabus at the very top, you're going to see a link to Zoom. That Zoom is kind of like an office hour Zoom. So if you click on that between 4 and 5 p.m., you should be able to get into my Zoom portal, and then I will be able to see you face to face. So it's basically like FaceTiming, except it's on the internet using Zoom. If you've never used Zoom before, you have to download some things, and then it'll pop up, and it'll ask you for access to your video camera and then your microphone. But basically, if you click on that link between 4 and 5 p.m., that will basically buzz me, and I should be on there, and I should be able to help you with any questions that you might have. With that being said, I don't normally see a lot of students during that period just because it's kind of an odd period. So definitely send emails to me or Angela. Both of us will answer them if we need to. And we try to get back to you within 24 hours. We either email you the answer in 24 hours, or we say, hey, we got your email, and we will answer it, but it won't be back to you in 24 hours. It might be, in 36 hours that we'll get back to you, but we did see your email and we want you to know. So understand that the 24-hour rule, especially when it comes to homework. Homework is due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you email us at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, we're probably not going to get back to you by that midnight due date for homework, so be cognizant of that. I try to keep on my emails on Sundays, looking at them up until about 6 or 7 p.m. and then kind of shut it down for the night. And if I am up a little bit later, I will go back to my emails and check them. So make sure you just know that our rule for the accounting certificate program is that we get back to you within 24 hours. And sometimes it does get to that point where we're getting back to you at hour 23, 24. Okay. So the requiring material, so the book that we are using we're using Cruz Fundamentals of Taxation 2018, McGraw-Hill. Let me see if I can show you at least a picture of it. Maybe not. Let's see here. Well, I was going to try to show you a picture of the cover, but I can't find it, so I will skip that for a second. But we are using the Cruz Fundamentals of Taxation 2018. It was released on December 1st, 2018, so it's really kind of like the 2019 version. From McGraw-Hill, you will need to use Connect, and don't purchase anything before 2017. So if it says Fundamentals of Taxation 2017, don't purchase that. You need to purchase the 2018. How do you get it? If you've never been in a accounting certificate program or online program with us, when you go to chapter 1, so if you go to the course doc resources folder. You'll click on that, it'll say week 1. In week 1, click on that, and then click on any of the assignments. So you can click on the homework, you can click on Learn Smart, you can click on the book, you can click on basically any one of those items. If you click through it, it's going to send you to Connect, or McGraw-Hill's Connect, and then from there it'll tell you to register and then pay. That's the best way to do it. Don't buy your book from Amazon.com or any other bookstore, because you might not get an access code to Connect, and then you'll have to rebuy it. So make sure you click through any one of the assignments for chapter 1, and then that'll take you to McGraw-Hill Connect's website. It'll ask you to sign in if you have a Connect website username and password. If you don't, you'll create one, and then I'll ask you, do you want to purchase it? You'll need to purchase it using a credit card, and the cost should be $137.50. So if it's any more than that or less than that, you might not be in the right area. So make sure it's about $130.50. It's called Cruise Fundamentals of Taxation. I'm sure I put that information in the syllabus for you. So the course calendar, talking about how we do this course. This course is 12 weeks long. Every week there will be a chapter. The week starts on a Monday, and then it ends on a Sunday. So Monday through Sunday. All work except for the final week of school is due on Sunday at 11:59. However, I do open each week the Friday before we talk about it. So for instance, let's assume that we look at week 2. So week 2 begins on 1/28/19, January 28th, and it will open at 6 a.m. on January 25th, 2019. So week 2 is going to open up, or chapter 2 is going to open up while chapter 1 is going on. And you might go, well, that's a little confusing. The reason why I open up the next chapter a little bit early is to allow those individuals who might have prior commitments the following week to be able to access chapter 2, for instance, a little bit earlier in a weekend, complete that early, so that when it is due, that weekend that it's due, they're not having to worry about it because they already completed a weekend in advance. And again, I know a lot of people here that are taking this course are working professionals, so your best time to get this stuff done is on the weekends. And so we wanted to make sure that each chapter is at least open for 2 full weekends, except for chapter 1, okay? And then it closes on 2/3/19. So chapter 2 would close on February 3rd, 2019. So basically you'll have access to every chapter for 10 full days. And you can, I believe week 1 is up. Week 1 should be up. If week 1 is up, you can go ahead and sign up and do all of that stuff now, so that you don't have to do that later on. If you have any questions on buying Connect or connecting your shell, definitely reach out to me or Angela. Now, the only issue with the course calendar is the final week, it's due on a Friday instead of a Sunday, and that's because it corresponds with the final day of the semester. So we want to honor that. And so if you go to the final week, week 12, everything's due on a Friday instead of a Sunday, so it's 3 days less that you get. Okay, grading is on a 1,000-point scale, 180 points on homework, 600 on exams, 200 apiece for an exam, 85 on a group project that we'll explain later on, and then 75 points on a tax return that you'll do individually, and you'll turn that in. You'll do it by paper, and the reason for that is the more practice you get doing that, the better you are going to be at preparing tax returns in the future. And then 60 points in participation in groups. We're going to put you in groups, and then you can work collaboratively on the homework with your group, and then your group will evaluate you 3 times during the term. So kind of how do we approach a week, or how should you approach a week in this course? Here's my suggestion. The first thing that you should do is read the chapter, okay? Or use SmartBook or the Learn Smart. So SmartBook is McGraw-Hill's adaptive reading program. And so I've given you the link to that for every single chapter. It is optional. You don't actually have to do it for a grade, but you might find that's the best way to read the book is using the SmartBook, because it's going to highlight things that are important that you should know, and basically gray out things or areas that maybe are not that important for you to know when you read the chapter. Now, I specifically chose this book because it was short. It had short chapters. So a lot of the chapters are like 20, 25 pages. And then some of the bigger chapters are 40 pages, but that's because it's covering a lot of material. So I try to make sure that the book was very simple for you to read, easy to read, so that you can actually get that done fairly quickly. After you do that, I do produce a whole bunch of lecture videos. So last year in this class, I produced 154. I'm redoing them all right now because of the changes in the tax law. So there may be another 150 or probably more videos that you will find. The link is in each chapter. And so you can use those videos to help supplement what you've read. And then I would do the homework, and then verify your answers with your group and discuss the answers with your group to try to get the right answer, and then submit your homework at the end. That's how I would approach each week. Talking about the lecture video, so 150 videos probably are going to be loaded onto this course, about 10 to 15 each. All the videos I try to keep under 15-ish minutes. A lot of them are under 10 minutes, so they're very easy to just watch a few at a time and then come back to them whenever you need to. There's a couple of things that you should know about these lecture videos. They're not required. So a lot of comments that I get at the end of the semester are like, your course is so time consuming because I'm watching all of the videos and I'm reading. You don't have to watch all the videos. Some people do because that's the way that they learn. Other people don't watch any of them because they would rather read it instead of having to watch the videos. But I try to give you different options, especially with different learning, different ways that people learn. And so there's really three options you can use the videos that I've uploaded, the 150 videos that I will upload by the end of this term. Don't use them. So you might go, I'm not going to use them. I'm just going to read the book and I'm going to be great. That's great. Second option, watch them all and use the book as a reference for holes. So you watch all the videos and then you go back to the book and you go, okay, he didn't talk about this, so I'm going to read it out of the book. Or he talked about this, but I need to see an example, so you're going to go to the book rather than watching the video. And so they kind of use the videos as kind of the main way that they're going to get the information, and the book as a supplement. And then some people are going to read the book and then watch the videos where they are confused. So if they're confused about something, they will go back to the book first. They'll go to the book after they've watched the video. Now I can tell you that watching those videos are going to be time consuming. There's a lot of them, so make sure you structure your time well. If you're using a mobile device to watch them, make sure you're on Wi-Fi because it will take a lot of time. So do that, and it'll help you manage your time a little bit better in this class. It doesn't have to be too time consuming, but it can be. A little bit about homework. It's in Connect. It is kind of group work. The key thing is that when you're doing your homework, make sure that you submit yours individually. So it is a collaborative with your group, but it's not just one person submitted for everybody. Everybody must submit their own homework. Now, all the tax information that you're going to use is based on the 2018 tax year. So if you're looking at numbers for deductions, you got to use the 2018 numbers. Don't use 2019 and don't use 2017 unless it's otherwise stated in the problem. They're usually worth 15 points. You must submit them by Sunday at 11:59, except for that last week. Each homework is going to have 1 to 2 tax return problems where it's going to have you go through a whole tax return. Make sure you're careful with that. And then you also have an opportunity to use the Check My Work feature, which will give you one Check My Work feature when you're doing homework. So you put in all your answers and you can press Check My Work, and it'll tell you which ones are right and which ones are wrong. They won't give you the right answer, but they'll just tell you, hey, this one's wrong, check it again. This one's right, you're good. You don't have to go through that, okay? The project will be a research memo that you're going to do in your group. I will assign that later on. I think it's like week 4 when I assign it. You and your group will work together on that memo, and then you'll turn in one memo for the entire group. Participation, that is based on your group members reviewing you both on the Google Doc. So you guys using Google Doc to collaborate, or getting on the phone once a week and saying, hey, what did you get for these answers? However you want to collaborate that way, that's going to be part of your participation because your group members are going to evaluate you. During the group project, that evaluation will be put together with that participation. So group project and your Google Docs will come together in one of the 3 participation evaluations. The tax return, you're going to do a full tax return by paper and pencil. I'm going to give you all the tax forms, and I'm also going to give you fake W-2s and 1099s, and then from there a case, and you're going to do the tax return individually, and you're going to turn that individually to us, and we'll grade those manually. If you have any disability accommodations, make sure you contact CSD for more information. That information is also in the syllabus, so we want to make sure that we made you aware of that just in case if you need it. And then you're going to have an opportunity to give an evaluation. You'll have 3 evaluations. One is your peer evaluations. The second one is your learning objective survey. And the third one is your student evaluation of teaching. Make sure you give these evaluations its weight in time and effort, because these are what we'd use to make changes during the year as well as for the next class. So some of the changes that you would have seen in this chapter or this semester is the way that videos are put together. So you're going to see some cool, I think, changes to the videos because of the comments that the last class made. So make sure you give them those weight when you get to those opportunities to submit an evaluation. They're very important. And so with that, couple of things that I need you to do before we kind of start the semester. The first thing you need to do is go to our discussion board on Blackboard and introduce yourself. Just say, hey, my name is, what do you do? Give us a little bit of background. I'm going to try to keep tabs on that and respond to you on discussion board. It also gives you an opportunity to learn about your classmates. And then the second thing to do is in week 1, you're going to have a survey that will evaluate who you want in your groups. So the key here with the survey is putting, when you're available, when you like to work, and then we will put the groups together when we're done. So me and Angela will do that later on. So make sure you do that survey. If you don't do that survey, we're going to put you in any group we want, and that might be a little bit disastrous and not helpful to you. So we want to make sure that you succeed. So make sure you do that survey. It is in the week 1 folder of the course documents. And again, feel free to reach out to me or Angela if you need any help during this semester. I'm going to send you an email every Monday. Sometimes it flows into Tuesdays, but I try to make sure it's Monday. It's called the Monday email. That Monday email will give you kind of the introduction to the week. It'll give you what information is you need to know for that week and what is due during that week. So make sure you see that email every Monday. We try to post it before noon, but sometimes time gets away from us. So if you have any questions, feel free again to reach out to us, and we will see you next week when we start week 1 here in federal income taxation. So super glad you're here, and I'll see you very soon.